Hello, welcome back to episode number 33, season number 1 of the Think Rugby podcast. Now, Andy, what the fuck is going on with the WRU this weekend, or just lately, as such? What's going on?
I mean, it's been going on since COVID. Things have just went from really bad to really worse in such a short amount of time. Yeah, just...
And this is not about performances in the field, is it? It's about something more in-depth, more serious, if you like.
Yeah, it's probably far more serious because, yeah, Wales won the Six Nations in 2021. So, yeah, this is going way worse than how they've been playing lately.
Anyway, right, we'll get into that in just a second. Other things that we like to cover today. I mean, Six Nations fixtures just been announced. A little bit of a strange one that we'll cover there in just a moment. More about the opening few games on the round number 1, but also we've got the final verdict for the playoffs in the URC. We've got Glasgow and Edinburgh. They are both qualified. So again, we'll get stuck into that later on in the episode. Of course, that's a big headline. And from a Scottish rugby standpoint, it's really good to see two Scottish teams in there. I mean, we'll see how far we get on. We're both playing South African teams as far as my notes say. We're playing the Stormers and then the Bulls. So again, that's very exciting news for us. But back to the point. You okay, Andy? I didn't ask how you were doing. You feeling all right?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Just let's continue on without asking how I am.
Never mind then. So, WRU. Andy's got an article. Tell me, Andy, what's been going on?
So, to save us getting done for copyright, the BBC did the article, and I will leave a link to it in the description. But basically, this last week, the WRU, with their PRA, Professional Rugby Agreement, it was, the deadline was last week, Friday, and 2 of the 4 clubs didn't sign it. And the reason for this is the fact that 4 regions will no longer be equally funded, and the WRU are not confirming or denying if a team will be cut amidst a lot of heavy rumours. So, yeah, it's a 2-tier funding system serving a 2-year notice on the current agreement. The one that they've got just now runs out in 2027, although it's meant to be superseded by a new 5-year deal. And as I say, Ospreys and the Scarlets, they are the 2 clubs that haven't signed it.
Yeah.
In 2024, the WRU said that maintaining 4 pro sides on an equal footing was the heart of its long-term strategy, given as well that in 2023, as it was seen in Six Nations Full Contact on Netflix, the Welsh players nearly went on strike before the English game at home in what would have been the biggest financial game of the season for the WRU. The WRU are doing this move in regards to deal with our proceeds of, or rather they're trying to do it so that they can proceed with our debt refinancing with our bank, NatWest. The deal has been negotiated between the WRU and clubs for several months. However, the PRA had been agreed in principle in February and it was due to be signed in April. Then obviously Cardiff entered temporary administration and the WRU took over.
Yeah.
The Ospreys and the Scarlets said they wouldn't sign until they had more clarity from the WRU as, quote, key issues hadn't been addressed. But in the midst of taking over Cardiff, the WRU absorbed £9 million of debts and they spent £780,000, around that figure, in fees in the process. The Ospreys and the Scarlets are still waiting for a response. The WRU had an option to serve the 2-year notice on the current deal. The WRU agreed on the drastic measures last week before finally telling the Ospreys and the Scarlets of their intention and their decision not to have 4 equally funded regions. This deal included fixed funding, or rather, this deal includes fixed funding of £6.5 million in the next few years, compared to the current £4.5 million from next season. Obviously, the Ospreys and the Scarlets aren't happy. They've sought legal advice with this 2-year notice of this PRA, running out.
Yeah.
The Dragons have welcomed the deal, and obviously because they're under the control of the WRU, as have Cardiff. It's worth noting as well that the likes of Sam Warburton, a British and Irish legend, not just a Welsh legend, but a legend on the grandest stage of them all, he has backed for there to be, or suggested there to be, 3 teams rather than 4, but as this article details, the WRU will get fined around £5 million by the URC if they cut out a team. Squidge Rugby, he's another one that isn't happy, and nor is a lot of the Welsh rugby fans.
You mentioned a rival there, Andy.
I am indeed, but I think you and I both know that for tactical analysis of how teams play at whatever level of rugby, he is the guy to go to, and we are not in that niche.
Squidge Rugby's the GOAT, I can't lie. He's the GOAT. So, see Sam Warburton there. For me, Sam Warburton played for Cardiff. Yeah, he played for Cardiff. They were Cardiff Blues back in the day, now just Cardiff Rugby. He rebranded to Cardiff Rugby. For me, I don't know why he would be suggesting 3 teams, other solely for the fact that the Blues would get more funding, because to make the team sweet. Because I'm assuming he's meaning cut out the Dragons. Would that be? Or not me just assuming maybe 2 loosely there. Okay, we maybe have some clarity. It is the Dragons they're kind of going on about.
Well, I would assume that it's the Dragons that he has gone on about in the past. He was on about it a few months ago during the Six Nations on their BBC programme, the highlight show. It makes sense to get rid of the Dragons because they are just terrible. I think their points difference this season for the URC was minus 301. I cannot fathom why they're still trying to. Ultimately, the brunt of this problem lies with gross mismanagement at the heart of the WRU. Abby Tierney, I don't envy her job, but herself and a lot of our colleagues have these as bureaucrats, as Dan Bigger said in his audiobook that I listened to earlier this year. They're the WRU. I would put if I was to point my finger at who is to blame, I would say WRU, you are to blame.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Right, interesting. No, I assumed it would have been. I don't think Sam Warburton would have been too pleased if it was suggested that it would be Cardiff Rugby to get cut as a team. I'd be silly anyway because Cardiff's Cardiff and Newport's just for the Dragons, just a tiny little town, little small city. But no, interesting stuff. To me, I guess this all of course it falls back on money, but to me, it's the 4 Welsh regions. In Newport's actually very in terms of location wise, it's very, very close to the likes of Cardiff itself. Extremely close actually, and it's again location wise, it's not really that much. It's not a big kind of rugby hotbed. Rugby's played. I could be clean wrong here. Rugby's played everywhere in Wales, absolutely everywhere. But when you think of Welsh rugby, you think Cardiff and you think of the Valleys. Plays on Lechley, if I can pronounce that right. Lechley is the Scarlets, and the Ospreys would be Swansea. So that's the kind of main kind of areas. Newport's just kind of kicking in the way, kind of lingering in between Cardiff and Bristol, which is in England, but that's kind of middle ground there. And I just don't think there's enough. It's not big enough for the talent, because a lot of talent I feel when it gets to a certain point, why wouldn't they end up going to the big city in Cardiff where they go to uni, or go to Bristol for uni? So all the kind of folk from Newport, I just think it's not a pointless exercise, but if they were gone, it wouldn't be as destructive, if you like. And I think if the 5 million fine wasn't a thing, I generally think that the WRU would be welcoming this 3 teams with open arms instead of keeping the 4 teams. That's just me though. But at the same time, if I know Scotland's just got 2 teams, so it's a bit okay. Well, say Ireland for example. Say if Ireland were to sack off a team, one who would be in 2, like why? And then would you say the funding, but like, if it's evenly distributed or whatnot, like would you think that would be like a fair kind of system as well? I can't really compare Scotland because it's just 2 teams. It'd be shit crack if one of the Scottish teams was to get bloody booted. You know what I mean? But what are you laughing at?
I'm just thinking, I mean, we've gotten pelters from the Irish fans for the last few weeks, and here it is, something all to do with Wales, and you're bringing up Ireland.
Oops. I'm
No, I do. To go with your point, I do agree. With the whole like the locations and everything, everything I'm reading online, there does appear to be quite a big divide between the east and the west of the country.
Mhm.
And again, you mentioned the valleys, the WRU. I see why they did what they did. You know, and it did hit the valleys the hardest, probably.
Mhm.
Um, but they needed to do something, and if something's not paying, then like I get it.
I wonder if it'll be beneficial. Any Welsh folk in the comments, honestly, like let us know what your thoughts are of anything that's been missed in that article, because you know what some journalism can be, where some things do get left under the radar to spin and twist a narrative. So anything extra like that we've missed or like has been missed in the articles, just throw down in the comments, and you never know, you might be in the podcast one day if you be lucky enough. But yeah, it's just something. It's a lot. It's very sinister what's going on, I feel. But I don't
But
know.
it's the fact that they've almost tried to do it before. Again, I was reading that I think they tried to merge the Ospreys and the Scarlets, and that went down like a lead balloon.
Stupid. That's stupid. Absolutely. That's
Considering as well the majority, like you think the Alan Wynne Joneses and all of them were Ospreys. Like
yeah. Historically, Ospreys are like a fair team. Every Welsh team apart from the Dragons are like historically a really strong competitive team. Even the Scarlets, all of them were. But like I say, like well, only one Welsh team got into the playoffs this year, did they?
the
I believe.
Scarlets, yeah. I think last year the Ospreys got in. I can't remember if the Scarlets got in as well,
I don't
but
think so. But I know the Scarlets just pipped it the last spot there. But so that's what I mean. Like if there's going to be any country to go through this, it would be Wales at this current moment in time. Like I say, it goes all the way back to COVID, and it always gets to a breaking point. You can kind of like patch over the cracks for so long, if that's the right terminology. But eventually, it will start bursting at the seams, and it looks like that's kind of what it's gotten to. It's got to the point of that. But something's going to happen. For me, it's really hard. Like it's really hard to go against your federation, so the WRU. So it wouldn't have been an easy decision for the Ospreys and Scarlets to not sign, that like the contract, if you like. But again, that kind of demonstrates the kind of disarray they're in.
but
Probably
it's
get resolved. I don't know if it would be a case of I mean, bit of money to stay hush. Maybe it's beyond that. I don't. That's a little bit scandalous in itself. But I think it will definitely be resolved in one way or another, or shape or form. What that might be.
I disagree. I totally disagree. They were in this predicament 2 years ago, and Dan Bigger said he was just like, yeah, the protests and everything that they did achieved fuck all because they're right back to square one again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I wonder what you always kind of look back and think, what would have happened if that game, that Welsh game, never actually went ahead? It needs
Because
to.
all the players basically achieved by going on strike was you don't need to. I think they reduced the amount of caps that you need to earn by playing for Wales before you can move away, and that's
Yeah,
why Dan Bigger, he was well. I'm in the fortunate position. I play for Northampton at that time. He was
yeah.
like, well, what you celebrating about?
Well, I guess more the sentimentality. It went down from 50 to 25, but I don't know if it went down even less. But I think it's about 25 you've got to have, which I do understand. I don't mind the actual rule itself, but again, it comes back to money. Done bigger. Sorry, I remember I was actually watching a video of Sam Warburton, and he was saying he was on a mega contract, mega money at Cardiff, and it was like he admitted himself it was stupid money that he was on, but he was getting offered it, so of course he took it.
Oh,
But
God, yeah.
look at now, it's like anything. Like you would do the same in work if you got offered stupid money for the same job. So, but like now they can't do that, and they're paying like wages and it's like you think of rugby, the wear and tear rugby players put them like the body, what they put their bodies through is absolutely insane, and they're taped up, and sometimes they're just strapped up to get through a game, and a season, at end of season, and afterwards go through medical physio appointments and sports massages to get their bodies right again. But that's why that big, not that big, buddy, Sam Warburton had to retire at 29 because his body was just fucked.
The same as James Haskell. He said in his book, everybody's bodies are completely fucked. It's even worse out in France. Okay, you get paid for it, but the season is long.
Yeah, aye. That's why you see lots of boys going to Japan and everything because it's less intense in the body, and they're getting paid a lot of money for it. So it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. But like I say, like rugby, like you think amateur rugby, how so your body is. Imagine doing that at like a professional level with like big boys and powerful boys. It's unsustainable. And I say fair play for like Alan Wynne Jones who did it for so long. I don't know. I generally don't know how. Again, he was taped up and like, he was like mummified some games, and it's a lot in the body. And if you're getting paid, I would even say less than 50k a year, then why would you even bother? Like like, as much as I love rugby and rugby would be an absolute dream, like to be a professional rugby player. Why would you bother when you can risk in like be struggling or like risking being able to pick up your daughter one if you're looking after a daughter that is, but if like pick up your daughter because your career has been so like physically demanding and now you can't do like normal day to day things such as being an actual like normal parent. It's there's a lot to weigh up. At the end of the day, they're not robots. They are human beings, every single one of them. There's a lot to weigh up. Like I say, Sam Warburton getting paid crazy money. You've got to take it when he could, and they don't offer it anymore. Only for a very select few. Or I would say Jack Morgan's one of the few that gets paid handsomely, or else he'd be away. Being honest, I think he would be away to maybe France, maybe England. Definitely, I'm sure there's been plenty of English clubs looking for the Jack Morgan's name.
But then that you're saying that, and then oh well, if he wasn't getting paid so well, he'd be away. If he was away, unless he had the amount of caps that was required for him to play for Wales, he wouldn't be away. It's like the WRU. It comes across like they're just trapping these players and they're not allowing them to go away and make the most amount of money that they can in what is quite literally quite a short career.
Yeah, yeah. I get the rule. I do get the rule of staying at home because you can implement like your kind of blueprint and your kind of system within the clubs. However, teams do play differently as a fact. I think that like New Zealand's got it cracked, but again, New Zealand do they have the money to back it up? Probably. Like Wales are very similar to New Zealand, not ability wise, but in the sense like rugby is so bloody massive, like it's a national sport of the country, for goodness sake, and it's so and like population wise as well. Say again? You don't know that?
No, I'm not sure about that. I'm pretty sure football's now the number one sport in Wales. I
Are you
mean,
sure?
well, would your number one sport be rugby if the country that you are from has lost the last 17 or 18 tests in a row?
Aye, but your national sport doesn't change, surely. I think that it's like the national sport. It's like
Well, maybe I'm thinking participation, but
oh
in the
no, sorry, I mean in like actual national sport, like
oh yeah, my bad.
I'm sure it is. I don't know. Maybe participation. The participation is definitely down. Let's just say that. But still a lot better up here. But yeah, I don't know. Like I say, like there's no incentive for them to stay because like the money is not there clearly. And I mean, even the chance to play in like the cups and like have like a credible record. Like when's the last time a Welsh team went like a cup run? I remember was Was it Cardiff? Was it Cardiff? Aye, because Gareth Anscombe was playing. I think it was Cardiff got to the final for European, the Challenge Cup. I don't think they won it, but maybe they did against the Bears. I think they actually lost it against the Bears. But that was the last time. It could have been during COVID. So again, just as things were starting to go a bit tits up with them, never mind. Lots and lots to get. Like I say in the comments, just drop a comment. Let us know anything, any info that we can feedback on, and or get feedback on. Just let us know, guys. We love your interaction. Actually, it's a really nice, wholesome experience reading all your comments. Nice comments or not. Okay,
Yeah.
what are you thinking, Andy? So what's next? Going from Wales, Six Nations. I can't remember, but the fixtures just got announced. Every single round got announced. But there's a lot of spanner in the works there. What's that spanner, Andy?
Well, the opening game for the 2026 Six Nations is going to be on a Thursday.
Strange one, if you ask me. I can't remember the last time it actually was not on a that was on a Thursday. I think it could be the first time in the Six Nations era, anyway. And I'm led to believe it's because of the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics. Would that be correct?
I think so, yeah. I think I'm minded to say that it's France Ireland
Aye.
in France.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd be right.
And yeah, well, I think they're making it the Thursday night because they didn't want it to clash on the Friday night. Fair enough. My thing would be if you were caring that much about attendances and viewings and that sort of stuff, why not have all three games on the one day on the Saturday, or do Saturday, and then Sunday?
So you'd have like a Super Saturday for round one. Would that be a fair?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would have done.
Imagine the piss up for that.
That
On
would
your run
be
as well.
awesome.
Absolutely phenomenal. You hinted the idea to me just about an hour ago, a couple hours ago, off camera, and I had a think about it just as I was finishing work, and I was like, you know something, actually be quite a good idea. Given the circumstances, I would much rather three games in the same day, a big rugby a big rugby marathon, in comparison to pulling the Thursday, fuck all on the Friday, then Saturday, Sunday. It's almost like the buzz is gone there because you've got to wait a day. So
Yeah.
it's a weird kind of feeling. Just kind of thinking about it. I mean, we won't know exactly until it comes around how we actually probably feel about it. But I just think it's a bit very, very strange. But again, in the comments, let us know because there must be a legitimate reason. Actually, having said that, it is bloody rugby federations at the end of the day. So you just don't know what they're actually thinking. They've got some bloody weird ideas and very silly ideas.
But
Going out. What's the but?
this year, rather than the tournament lasting 7 weeks, this year, no, I mean 2026. 2026, it is going to last 6 weeks, so they're going to have weeks or rounds 1 to 3, all in 3 weeks, then a break or a follow week, and then the last two rounds, and then that's it. Rather than round one, round two, break, round three, break, round four, round five. I welcome that. I'm happy about that.
What's the reasoning behind that?
I think they're just trying to build a bit of momentum and try and get more folk viewing the game. And you're like, well, you can't really make storylines if you've got right round one, round two, and then a break. Oh, and then round three. Oh, and then round four, round five. You know, it's round one, round two, round three. Let's say a break, and then round four, round five.
I'm open. I'm open to the idea. I can't lie. Yeah, I've never understood that kind of break. I get what you mean. I understand one, having a week off and to recover on that. But the thing is, see if they're worried about squad depth and everything and folk getting injured. I know folk can come in and out, but should they not maybe open up the size of the squad, or do you reckon? Again, it depends because a lot of Scotland, like Glasgow and Edinburgh, do get a little bit depleted because the main chunk of their players play within Glasgow and Edinburgh. So that's the one worry I would have is less rest time for these players. So higher risk of injury, which has a knock-on effect, because then if there's players injured, then teams from clubs have to come in, which depletes the clubs, i.e. Glasgow and Edinburgh. We get quite depleted there, and then be playing kids and non-internationals, so they might get affected in like the URC competition whilst the Six Nations is going on. That would be my one worry, but it's only 1 week. It's not like they're cutting out masses of amounts, and they know it's coming up as well. So it'll definitely test squad depth in the club game as like a kind of knock-on effect from there. But I would like to see it. Thing is, though, if you don't try it, you don't know. So as well just giving it a go. Apart from the Thursday night, I think that's a load of shit. Like it should be like 3 on the Saturday. Being perfectly honest, it's a bit of an odd one if you ask me.
Yeah, no, I seen a lot of comments and stuff online, and a lot of folk are not happy. Like a lot of folk are going, "Oh, it's rugby's doing a deal with the devil." Da, da, da. I'm like, this is about the first time I think I've ever. Well, hopefully we will ever see a game being put on the Thursday. I think it's the wrong decision. I don't think that the Six Nations Committee will be in a rush to have another game on a Thursday or whatever. I think they know rugby in its roots, like there is a lot of problems with traditional rugby values. However, playing the games at the weekend, that is something that I think they are very, very keen to keep. I don't think we'll turn into football and having a game every single fucking night of the week.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. I'm happy with that though. Be a bit much. You've got something to look forward to, especially being rugby. It's something to look forward to for the weekend. And as you know, Saturday is for the boys, so it's always a fine excuse. Put the rugby on down the pub and have a pint with your mates. Okay, right. Happy to move on.
Let's move on.
Excellent, good stuff. So on to the well, not the main thing, but the most exciting thing for me, which is Glasgow and Edinburgh have both qualified for the quarterfinals of the URC, I guess, playoffs. So we'll start with Edinburgh. So I'm so happy they qualified, because it was a bit touch and go for a while, because I mean they had good momentum towards the end of the season, but then they lost that game to the Sharks last minute, which would have been a really good win or draw. I can't remember what it would have been, but so like it's been deserved because they've been running teams close and actually picked up a bit of form. So they managed to sneak in at 7th. Would it have been 7th? Because Scarlets came in at 7th, which is phenomenal for them. Well done to Edinburgh. They've got a fair squad just now. Like you said, I will admit, Hamish Watson is playing phenomenally just now. He is on form.
He is turning the clock back.
As in like international standards on form. So I would not be surprised if you start seeing him in August or even next Six Nations if he keeps this up. Now he's actually getting played for Edinburgh, signed that new contract. I would not be surprised. Give it one last crack, because it's just a 1 year extension, is it? But I would not be surprised if he gets one last crack at it. It'd be very nice to see as well, because he definitely deserves it. But so Edinburgh, they will be playing the Bulls in South Africa, which is a tough one. And the Bulls are last year's runners-up.
Yep.
Yep. Which, I mean, of course, they got beat by Glasgow in Pretoria, or in South Africa anyway. So, if historical, as recent history shows or suggests, Scottish teams are a bit favourable there. But, just saying the Bulls, against the Bulls. But, Edinburgh did just kind of creep into it, and the Bulls, I think, I mean, it's a hard one to tell. They'll be looking for blood again to at least get that far, and they did finish a little bit higher up in the table. What would they finish about? What did they finish? Third?
It's a third now.
Third? About third place. So they are ahead of the likes of Glasgow, and certainly ahead of Edinburgh.
No, it would have been second, because first place 8th, second place 7th, third v 5th, and third v 6th, and fourth v 5th.
Well, I'm glad you can count, Andy. So you'll be right enough then. So then you got Glasgow, who will be facing the Stormers. You know something? I'm a wee bit.
I would say, I'm going to say this for you, Edinburgh have got a better chance of winning their game than what Glasgow do.
Yeah. I kind of, I'm getting that kind of vibe. I don't know why, because now like the two Piloto, he's all back in that, but I just don't know why. Like, Why? Do you think it's just kind of the way we've been playing? The way Glasgow's been playing lately? Do you think like Edinburgh's just picked up the form at the right time, or what's your kind of understanding there?
Well, Edinburgh have picked up a lot of good form, yes, at the right time, but the fixtures into the last 6 weeks or whatever have favoured them considerably. Glasgow, on the other hand, have really struggled in the last month, and although Tupelotu's back, and yeah, the forwards, a very inexperienced pack against Leinster. It was 13-5 to Leinster. That first half, Glasgow could have had it. The
Yeah,
boy that was playing hooker, it was such an inexperienced pack. I was quite surprised at how close the game was. The boy, is it Stephen you call him? He's Aberdonian. He had a phenomenal shift, and I'm looking forward to see how well he plays going forward. He got captain under 20s for Scotland.
good, good. I don't know, man. Do you not think that two political coming back? I know I'm completely segueing to what I completely irrelevant to what you said, but two political coming back. You don't think that's given us a bit of a boost, a bit of a kind of confidence boost as well, though? I know we need more than just confidence to win, but do you not feel like that's huge?
Yeah, you could see it at the weekend. Although he only played 40 minutes, the difference in how they fronted up, a bit of a leader. You know, Glasgow have got 13 or 14 boys currently on the injury list, and like Sir
Yeah.
Max Williamson came back injured again. They were lacking a bit of leadership, and I think with Hugh Jones and Tupelotu coming back, it's been at the right time for them.
For sure, for sure. At least it wasn't at least it wasn't a 40-50 nil pumping this time. It was 13 points to 8 or 13 points to 5. It was a bit more of a respectable and commendable scoreline, despite losing and getting nothing from the game. But I mean, that's just kind of rugby sometimes. It didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It really didn't.
No, the second half was dog shit, but in the first half, it was a dreadful game of rugby. To anybody, do not watch that second half of rugby ever again. It would have been okay if you were playing in it to watch. Yuck. The first half, Hastings, he had quite an easy kick and he missed. I was like, wow.
That's right.
If that went in, I would have backed Glasgow to win if he got that first kick, because at the point it was 0-0. And I have to say, the referee, he was right on. Leinster and Ireland are very, very, like, they get the rub of the green with the refereeing decisions. The referee, yes, he maybe made a bit of an error for one of the tries Glasgow conceded. I thought was a bit harsh. That, like, yeah, I thought he had a good game.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, that kick was. It's the fact it was dead straight as well, more or less dead straight, and he pulled it. I thought it was a bit unprofessional, if you like. Not so I would have made it like, but when I don't know, it's frustrating, very frustrating. At the end of the day, what can you do? Like I said, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter enormously. We've still got a home leg in the quarter final. We've got every chance, but like I say, I generally feel Edinburgh's got more of a chance than the likes of Glasgow. Again,
Well,
like I say,
as you say, like the back row, Bradbury and Hamish Watson were on fire. Darcy Graham got sunburned, and he was still like by far the best player on that park.
yeah, it hit the line he cut for that try. Holy shit! Like it kind of makes you big. Which I know we weren't going to bring this up. We'll bring it up anyway. But Darcy Graham, how he never got picked before the Lions. I mean, you sent me the start earlier on. 39 tries in 49 games for club and country. That is that's world class levels. And that's
Andy Farrell's gotten that one wrong.
100%. I don't have the exact stat for Mark Hansen, but I highly doubt he's got that. It's that much. And anyway, like another thing, Tupelotu, he had a quick little interview not too long ago, and it was who's the person that's hardest to tackle, or like who's the hardest, like who you fear like defending. And he mentioned Etzebeth and whatnot, like some big ball carriers. He said, but you know where they're going, so he doesn't mind tackling them because he can just chop nice and low. He said the person he hates the most tackling and he like backs himself against the least is Darcy Graham because he just gets jinxed about and is so evasive. And when you've got Tupelotu who should and are still touch and go whether he'll start for the Lions or not, but he should start and one of the best players in the world at the moment. When he's saying that, you've got to be
Yeah.
special. You've got to be special. Okay, as his teammate as well, but you still got to be special. when somebody's giving you that kind of compliment. I think he's made a massive error there. Do you think it's because of Darcy's injury list this season could play a factor in it?
I think it was the fact of, I don't know. I think I could be wrong. I think he maybe looked at Van der Merwe or Graham. We'll go with Van der Merwe because he's the leading try scorer. But when 39 tries for club and country in 49 games or whatever it was, it's like, how have you not picked him?
Yeah, but with Van der Merwe, like, you're not going to start him in the test because probably Andy Farber lives a winger or somebody in the backfield with a big left boot. And that's James Lowe.
Who do you have on the other side then?
I'd had Darcy Graham. Well, Tommy Freeman on the other side.
Oh, I think I don't care if any dickheads in the comments say that I'm being biased. Darcy Graham and James Lowe is your starting two wingers for the Lions tour.
No, I agree with you, but I wouldn't like write off like Tommy Freeman, to be fair, because he's had a very incredibly good season. But I would definitely have Darcy Graham on tour as one of the hot seats to take one of the jerseys. Like with it's frustrating, but like you say, what can you do? Like, you're not picking the team, and it is an Irish, well, that the Ireland coach, picking the team at the end of the day. Like, never mind. But I thought I mentioned that. I thought I mentioned Darcy Graham there because he has been an absolute fire. To start with, I kind of understood it because he was good at spells. He was good at spells, but like again, I think it's the injuries have just knocked him, which is a shame because I mean anyone can get injured at any point in time. It doesn't mean you don't pick them because of that, because they still show absolute quality. I mean, I'm pretty sure just because, I don't know, Bundy Aki or Tide Furlong. Tide Furlong just is not long back from like a big injury. He's been out for ages, and he's been playing a few games now. But you're taking him, he could get injured again. No, I mean, it's just a risk you take.
But the stats don't lie with Darcy Graham, and he's had a lot of injuries in between that. Like he's not even injury prone either.
No, but even if you can just last 3 games, those 3 test games, or even 2 of those test games, then you can take somebody in. Or look, you've got a squad of boys. Then you it's the best of the best as well. It's not like I'm not going to name names in the Scottish team, but it's not like Graham comes out and you play somebody who's good, but not like that kind of world class level. It's world class boys that you're replacing them with. So you play your strongest team from the off. You don't save them till later on, I feel, because you look to win every game. You look to win every single minute as it happens. So you always play your strongest team from the off, and then if you've got to replace folk because of injury, then you do. So, but anyway, it's not even Darcy's not even there. So I mean, I'm hoping if there's an injury that he'll be called up. Well, not be called, but called up because he deserves it. It'd be nice to have a ninth Scottish Lion there on tour. Okay.
Yep.
Like said, well, that's all from me really today. I've enjoyed this episode. We've kind of covered a lot of bases. So we've covered some financial issues, like WRU and disarray. We've managed to avoid. I've managed to avoid the IRFU to a certain degree, to a certain point. At least I've not kind of slagged them off. I mean, we're still going, so still time. But then we've also discussed like the league, with the URC, the league, the exciting stuff going on there. I know I've missed out things like Super Rugby specific. Shout out to Ardi Sevilla, who just won player of the tournament after being told that going to Moana Pacifica would kind of tarnish his reputation a bit, and he wouldn't be playing at the top level like he is. And he literally possibly had the biggest I'm him performance at the weekend against the Blues. Yeah, and Moana Pacifica are now in the playoffs of that competition for the first time in their career. So fair play to Moana Pacifica. Fiji and Drua also won their game as well. I can't remember who they played there actually, but they also won that game. Not quite in the playoffs yet, but playing some sexy rugby here and there. I can't believe Andy doesn't like watching Pacific rugby. It's honestly phenomenal.
I watched bits like last year, but yeah, I just haven't gotten back into it this year. Like other stuff's been going on in my life. I've got enough in my life going on without like getting up and watching rugby in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning.
There's only so much you can do. I know there's only so much hours in the day. I get it, Andy. So you'll stick that. I'll leave that with me, and I'll stick to watching the proper rugby. But yeah, and what else we covered? Well, Glasgow, Stormers, Edinburgh, and also the Six Nations. I can't believe that's it already announced. I mean, it's still good 9 months away, or whatever it is. But it's
It's late compared to last year. This is late.
a wee bit, because it was like the end of January, start of February was the Six Nations this year past. So yeah, I mean, it does happen. It does happen. Again, it just depends on dates. And well, I mean, say depend on dates. They could even get the first game right. It's on that Thursday night. But never mind, never mind. But something to look forward to nonetheless. I'll be looking forward to it. Hopefully, get to a couple of games this year. Maybe a away game. You never know. Okay then, Andy. Right, that's all for me. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment. Like I say, as much interaction as possible and enhance our kind of knowledge about what's going on, and also because like not everybody picks everything up, especially in the journalism world, it can be a bit of a grey area at times. So it's nice to know other people's opinions or facts. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, comment, share to a friend, and thank you very much for watching.
See yous.
Bye bye.